Good morning, good evening, good night. I hope you're doing very well. Thank you for joining me for this video on PRS. Now, there are lots of people who hate PRS and there's lots of people who love them. I personally would sit into the camp of love, I think. This is my first PRS, and having read all about them, it's become very clear that they are incredibly polarizing. So before I set this up, as you can see, I was kind of mid setup and I thought, well, starting to set up, and I thought, well, let's do a quick video on all of the points that I can possibly find on everything that people have to say about PRS in a negative, and my response, because I think it's quite important, because there seems to be quite a lot of vitriol out there against PRS, which I think is rather unjustified. Most of it to do with it being a relatively new brand, and you know, the old guard and all that sort of stuff. They're the best guitars and no, all that stuff. So let's just get straight into it. So the first thing that I wanted to mention is I have found a lot of people saying the finishes are bad taste, and they rather lovingly refer to this kind of colour as puke green. Now, I think that's a bit unfair. I personally really like this colour. This is the supposed aqua on this particular PRS. It's got quite a nice flame maple top on this one, which I think is rather pretty. This is actually aqua. I'd love to know what your thoughts on it are. By the way, please do comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff in the background. But you know, I'll get back to any comments as well, because I would really love to hear what everyone thinks. But I think it's a very pretty top, and they do come in all sorts of colours: amber, red, sunburst, you name it. PRS are known for their tops, so I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder personally. The other thing is their ornamental guitars. They are incredibly expensive. They're for the lawyers, the Wall Street day trader. It's the sort of trophy guitar, and why on earth would you bother to get one? Again, I think that's a load of old tosh, frankly, from my own perspective. You can get a core guitar, which, okay, that's going to cost you $4,000-$5,000 or pounds equivalent. You can also get everything from an S2 down to an SE. This happens to be an SE. It ain't cheap, I won't lie, but to say they're not pawn shop guitars, PAWN, again, I think that is a bit unfair. This one actually was from a pawn shop, and I got a significant discount on this one. Overall, it needs a little bit of work, needs a bit of setup, but it's actually in fantastic shape, this guitar, as it turns out. So you can get good deals on them. You can get them secondhand, and I do highly recommend it. But obviously you get one new as well. I mean, they're not, you know, $1,000 or pounds is kind of what Epiphone or Fender are charging for their sort of the kind of mid-range guitars in their range. So frankly, PRS, I mean, they're not, I think the argument they're too expensive doesn't necessarily hold up anymore, frankly. Now, the other thing was there's no big famous artist support. Again, okay, Slash, Eric Clapton, etc., Jimi Hendrix. Okay, we're talking a whole sequence of famous people playing Fenders and Gibsons. I get it. But PRS do have Zach Myers, they've got Carlos Santana, they've got Brad Delson from Linkin Park, they've got Alex Lifeson from Rush. And now, you know, people like Sophie Burrell, sort of the new generation of guitar players coming up. She's a huge, if you inverted commas, influencer, you could say, in the guitar space. So to say there aren't famous people playing them, again, you know, arguably, meh, I don't necessarily agree. I suppose that flows into whether this is an instrument which is going to inspire you. I don't rely on other people playing a guitar brand to get inspired by it. You could argue, you know, someone like Joe Satriani playing an Ibanez, you think, okay, I want to pick up that guitar. But it's not going to stop me playing some Satriani or some Slash or some Eric Clapton or whatever I want on this. And that comes into my next point, versatility. Now, people also argue, well, if you want to play Gibson, you want to play Fender, just go and get those guitars. That's how you're going to get the best sound that you want. Well, this guitar, for example, this specific one is called Paul's guitar. It's the SE Paul's PRS. It actually has the function here for chord split. and it can sound very much like a Les Paul, and it can sound really stratty. It is, from my perspective, again, this is the holy grail of guitars that I've found so far, because it can do both, and it is not a jack of all trades, master of none. It really does both very convincingly. So if you're going to a jam or something, or a gig, or even a studio session, this guitar is like a Swiss Army knife. You can really pull out a whole load of tricks from this thing. It is really brilliant. The other thing from my perspective, which is one of the reasons I got it, was that it has a lovely chunky neck like a Les Paul. It has the sort of in-between scale length of a Les Paul and Fender. This is 25 inches, and it's lightweight, but it's mahogany, and yeah, it plays like a dream. So, you know, frankly, from my perspective, where's the problem? The other thing, too engineered. There's no soul in these guitars. If you watch either the videos on Indonesia or the Maryland factory, they go into great depth about the painstaking effort they go into to create these guitars as strictly as possible. That doesn't mean there isn't variation. You know, these maple tops, there's a certain amount of artistry that goes in there. There are lots of handmade elements in these guitars. I should mention at this point as well, by the way, this video is not sponsored by PRS. I just found myself feeling quite passionate about it because there's just so much hate on them, and I think that is so unfair, because they are brilliant guitars, and definitely well up there with the competition. So the other thing would be the heel is too fat to be comfortable to play. So again, just look at your Les Paul. How much of a heel does that have? Now, I would argue that you've actually got the comfort cut here as well to be able to reach the upper frets. And for me, I've got quite large hands. This actually gives me something to grip onto at the back. So again, I think that's super comfortable to play on. Again, it's going to be all down to personal taste. The other thing is really, I think, to close on, how inspired are you going to get with your guitar? You know, when you go to a bar or a gig, you know, you take this guitar along with you and you want to thrash out a solo. Yeah, you're going to get noticed. Yeah, it might be like some people are going to accuse you of, you know, it's like bringing a Porsche, driving up a Porsche to the bar, and you are the one who wants to get seen by everyone. Well, you know what? Who cares? Yeah, maybe you don't want to get seen. I bet most lead guitarists do. It's the way you're going to, you know, make a success of yourself, as if you want to be a wallflower if you're a guitarist. So I really like these guitars. I like all guitars. I'm not a brand snob in any way. I'm not a cork sniffer. I like setting them up. I love playing them, and gradually getting better and better at playing guitar. I've been playing for a long time now, and I think there's always something to learn. Always good fun to be had out of guitar. And yeah, if you see one of these, I highly recommend that you investigate PRS. You go into a shop, try one if you can. You might be very pleasantly surprised. As I say, I've got various guitars, and now that I've tried this, this has actually relatively blown my mind. I really do like this guitar. And on that note, there will be a full review coming. As you can see, I'd started to sort of cut strings off and what have you. So there is that string missing for those keen-eyed among you. So I just started to cut them off, and then I stopped myself. But yeah, here we go. So there you are. More to come. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. See you next one.